So here is the MiniBrute. Okay, let's start off with a Sawtooth Wave. I'm going to take the octave all the way down to -2. You'll notice there's this awesome octave button, and let me tell you right now that it aids in switching octaves really effectively with these easy down-up buttons. So in the midst of playing. So here is the Sawtooth Wave. Up 1 octave. Up 1 octave to 0. Up another octave to +1. And a +2. Let's hear this square wave. Pulse width is set to 50%. Up 1 octave. Up 1 octave. Up another octave. And up 1 more octave. And here is the triangle wave. Up 1 octave. Up 1 octave. Up 1 octave. Up 1 octave. And here's the noise wave. That sounds just like noise. Okay, what we haven't covered is the sub oscillator, but we'll get to that in a second. Well, actually, let's get to it right now. Here is the Sawtooth Wave. And let's bring in the sub oscillator. You can hear that's 1 octave below the pitch of the Sawtooth Wave, which is nice. Also, you know, that'll be 1 octave below even if you lower the octave setting, which makes it particularly shocking when you can drop it another octave to -2. Down here, you're so low that it's down to the clicks. You can't even hear it anymore, which is fantastically awesome. And, well, here we go. This is the thing I always say. As if that wasn't cool enough, Arturia has given you not only the sine wave, which is what we're hearing in the sub-oscillator, but you also get the square wave in the sub-oscillator, which has a more raw sound. Here, I'll show you. So you have this sub-oscillator, so you can really get these good, full, bassy sounds. Now, I'm assuming that this sub-oscillator is actually just a divided version of the output from the oscillator, because you don't have the ability to change the pitch or create detuning with it. But you don't need it. All it does is give you a low end that's nice, and it gives you a low end in either the sine wave flavor or the square wave flavor, and you can choose your octave. And you can also choose the level to which the sub-oscillator is involved. So if you put it down here in this sort of low region, you get sort of more of a flavoring than a full bottom end. So that's a really great feature to have. Now, while we're talking about super cool features in the oscillator, and here's the thing that I really like about what Arturia did. So often you get, the oscillator gets just blown off. It's like, oh, you got a square wave and a saw wave, but listen to what the filter does. Arturia apparently recognized that the oscillator is the source of the sound, and the more timbral variation you can generate, the more interesting your synthesizer is going to be. So I really like that they have included these totally sort of unique and interesting oscillator related sections. Let's start off with a Sawtooth Wave, which is my personal favorite. We have the Ultra Saw right up here. This is a way to make your saw more interesting. Let's give you a demonstration. Here's the Ultra Saw amount. I don't know how experienced you are, but it's kind of like this sounds like a pulse width modulation for the Sawtooth Wave. And it doesn't stop there. That sounds cool enough. I mean, that's a nice enough addition to the Sawtooth waveform, but you also get to decide the rate of that chorusing effect. It's very much like pulse width modulation is with a square wave. So that's really cool. Listen to that. So that's your Sawtooth Wave. You don't just get the standard Sawtooth, you also get the option of that cool chorusing effect. And your square wave has these features. Your standard square wave, you get to decide the pulse width. Which is pretty standard on most synthesizers, but it's, there it is. You have an envelope amount that is, if I'm correct, the filter envelope controls the pulse width. So you get this pulse width modulation from the envelope. That's a nice feature to have. Here's where we get into crazy territory. The triangle wave. Okay, come on, triangle wave. It's like the most boring waveform you could have on the synthesizer. Somehow, the triangle wave is even more boring than the sine wave. I don't even know why that is. But listen, so you have this cool, nice, standard triangle wave. And then they have this thing called Metalizer. It gives a huge amount of interesting timbral variety to the triangle wave. Again, I mean, you could kind of say it's like pulse width modulation for the triangle wave, but it's more than that. It has this grittier sound. It's interesting. I mean, they called it the Metalizer, and it definitely has sort of a metallic sound to it. And they haven't just left you there, they've given you the envelope amount, so you could like shape this kind of cool effect. It's almost like a sync kind of sounding thing, isn't it? You can hear it kind of doing a sync sounding effect there. And you also have the option to do it negative in the envelope amount. What a cool effect to have with a triangle wave, for crying out loud. That's a triangle wave. And you get this really interesting, gritty, sync-like effect with envelope amount just from a triangle wave. So yeah, they've obviously given you an incredible variety of timbres to work with, even just with the basic waves that are included. And of course, you can mix all of these things together. As you can see, or maybe you can't see, maybe you haven't noticed, but I have the Sawtooth Wave with ultra saw going at a high rate. I have the square wave going with an altered pulse width and the envelope controlling that pulse width. The same envelope is controlling the Metalizer in negative on the triangle wave. So this is the sound you get. Very gritty. Timbrally interesting, eminently useful in music. I think they've really hit a home run with this. It's really a great idea. And we're not even done there. Wait till we move over into the Brute Factor. Along with the filter, Arturia has really given you a lot of timbral variety to work with. There, we brought the sub-osc in. Okay, so that's essentially the oscillator.